Hey, and hey, what's up and how's it going, all MRBers? I am Mike McRack for the McRackable Wrestling Review Show, and right now I'm going to give you a new top 10 list. Yes, it's been a long time, so let's just get right down to it. Right now I'm going to give you my top 10 most boring WWE superstars that just make me want to go. So for this countdown, I've decided to look at the WWE.com active roster, and I picked out my top 10 most boring, dreadful, uninteresting WWE superstars, wrestlers, talents, or whatever you want to call them. So let's get right down to the list. Here we go. Starting at number 10 is Sheamus. Why Sheamus at number 10? Well, here's the thing. Even though I'm about to get to the really good stuff later on, I put Sheamus at number 10 because to me, I feel like I'm a little bit biased because my last name is McMenemy and he's Irish, so yeah, well, why not? But in all honesty, the real reason why I put Sheamus on the bottom of this list is because there are a lot of more boring and dreadful wrestlers, talents, superstars, whatever you want to call them, that are coming up. And the reason why I put Sheamus on this list is because all he does, he comes out, he does his, the whole thing, he goes, comes in, does a bro kick, does a white noise, whatever. It's just that when Sheamus comes into the ring, it's kind of like Batista, even though I'm not going to mention him because he technically quit, but I want to use Batista as an example. You know how Batista's entrance, he comes into the ring, it's like, like that's it. That was the best thing about it. It's kind of like that. The only difference is with Sheamus, every time he comes out, it's just, you're not going to get a real magical wrestling match with Sheamus. He has a different style. He has a brawling style. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be a wrestler to have wrestling skills to put on a great performance, to be entertaining. You can be a great wrestler and still come off really boring. But with Sheamus, he just has very, very little personality. He's very one-dimensional, as like some of the superstars that are on this list. And to me, the only thing Sheamus has going for him is nothing. Nothing at all. He's the United States champion, and he's not doing anything for me at all. Moving on. Number 9. Rusev. And the reason why I pick Rusev at number 9 is because he is just a stale Bulgarian brute, as they call him. He's just stale. He has no personality. He just comes out, I destroy, I will terminate you in 30 seconds. It's flat, I will squash you. Boom, accolade. And I'm gonna finish you off in 5 seconds. Blink, you miss it, and that's pretty much it. And the funny thing is, his manager Lana is the only good thing. Really, in all honesty, it's a Lana showpiece for Lana. It's Rusev, and it's one of those things where the WWE has the real big boner for really huge guys like Vladimir Kozlov, you name it. All these, different country, big, heavy superstars. It's just one of those situations where it's doomed to fail at the very beginning. You just know automatically. I mean, you knew it with Vladimir Kozlov. You kind of knew it with Umaga as well. And now we get Rusev, and it's just, I'm completely bored out of my mind. Moving on, number 8, Curtis Axel. And the reason why I picked Curtis Axel at number 8 is because he has no personality. I don't see any personality at all with Curtis Axel. I think he tries too hard. He has no charisma at all. And when he is speaking on the microphone, he pronounces his words really hard. He's kind of hard to hear him speak sometimes. It's not really smooth. He's a hard speaker, and to me, that sucks the life out of me. And it's tough for someone whose father is Mr. Perfect to follow in his footsteps. Oh, really, it's just amazing how the WWE has this idea in their head that the son of a father is going to be bigger and better than their father or grandfather, etc., etc., etc. You know, guys like Randy Orton, guys like whoever you want to name, right? You know, that are now through generation or second generation superstars and have to follow what their grandfather and father did before them. Same thing here with Curtis Axel and Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect, he was awesome. He was perfect. He can do anything. And now you have Curtis Axel, and it's just, oh, wow. Wow, is all I gotta say. Coming in at number 7. Somebody gonna get their ass kicked. Somebody gonna get a whipping. Beat him up, break his neck, beat him up, break his neck. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. The world's strongest man, Mark Henry. And the reason why I put him in at number 7, he's just the funny thing is with Mark Henry, of all his 15 years in the WWE, and I've watched a lot of WWE, I just never quite got into Mark Henry. The only time I actually got into Mark Henry is when he done the whole speech of him retiring, wearing that pink suit, and he practically fooled me. He fooled everyone. He fooled Jimmy Corderas. Of all people, he fooled Jimmy Corderas. If you fooled Jimmy Corderas, you're doing something great. But overall, with Mark Henry now, it's just he's a guy that comes in and does jobber squash matches if they ever do feature him on TV, and he's not being featured at all. And I'm surprised that, well, not surprised, because when it comes to the African American wrestlers and superstars in the WWE somehow finds a way to demote them down the drain. I don't know what it is. To be quite honest, I just can't put my finger on it at all. Moving on. Coming in at number 6, Kane. The reason why I put Kane at number 6 on this list is because every time now when I hear his pyro go off, I'm just not scared anymore at all. I mean, there was a point when Kane had a good thing going. When was it? 10, maybe 11, 12 years ago, when he put battery jump cables on Shane McMahon's testicles. That was the last time that Kane, to me, was the most interesting. When he took off his mask the first time, he was tombstoning Linda McMahon, he was tombstoning JR, and tombstoning people left, right, and center, taking out security, and putting people on fire, setting JR on fire, doing all these awesome promos, turning on Rob Van Dam, putting him in the match at SummerSlam with Rob Van Dam. That was the last time he was compelling. Oh, and then ever since then, he just slowly went downhill as time went on. He was in Team Hell No, and I was like, even though this was funny comedy, you can just tell that the WWE was starting to treat Kane as a joke. Even before then, you could just know that they're going to put Kane in situations, make him funny, make him serious again, make him funny, make him serious again, and now it's at a point now where it's hard to take Kane serious. And the last thing that he was doing was an Extreme Rules match with Daniel Bryan for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and how did that go for him? Yeah, you get my point. Coming in at number 5. Now we're getting to the second half of the countdown. And coming in at number 5 is The Big Show. Why do I feel that The Big Show is the number 5 most boring WWE superstar on the active roster today? Well, let's see. Last week, he was being put in a entertainment segment on Monday Night Raw where he squashed Damian Sandow. One of the last things he done was a rivalry with The Authority, and they were building up The Big Show as the guy that was just on The Authority's case. I'm going to sue you guys. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you're destroyed. What did WWE do with that storyline? They freaking dropped it. And ever since then, Big Show has been nothing more than a giant squash guy who squashes people when he gets a chance to be on TV, and they don't even feature him. The last time that they featured the Big Show was on SmackDown in a match against, I don't even know who the heck it was. And when I can't remember Big Show's opponent, really tells you a lot. What I think of the Big Show being really boring. He's just a giant right now. He does nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary, just nothing. What happened to the guy that pushed a Jeep over? What happened to that guy? And when it comes to using the Big Show, they put him in every embarrassing WrestleMania moment you can think of. Akibono, Floyd Money Mayweather, WrestleMania, baby, woo! Every single time the WWE gets an opportunity to put the Big Show on the grandest stage of them all, they just can't help themselves and make him the big joke. Well, it's the big joke. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. It's the big bad joke tonight. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. Yeah, it's the big joke. Dun-dun, dun-dun. Yeah, you get where I'm going with it. So, to me, that is why the Big Show is at number 5 on this countdown. Coming in at number 4. Are you surprised he's not number 1? Well, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. The reason why I put John Cena at number 4 on this countdown is because, well, if you've been watching the WWE for the past 10, 11, 12 years maybe, you know exactly where I'm coming from. You are about to feel my pain. The reason why I put John Cena at number 4 is because, well, that, hustle, loyalty, respect, the 5 moves of doom, the attitude adjustment, the same promos he cuts every single week. But I will give John Cena this. When he's serious, he's good on the microphone. But when he's doing the comedy, just stop. Please, just stop. He can't even sell a match at all. When he's in the ring with the right people like maybe Punk or Daniel Bryan or Dolph Ziggler for that matter, he can put on a good match. But when he's in the ring with guys like The Big Show, Mark Henry, even a guy that I'm going to mention later on, he just can't sell. I mean, I remember the last time he was in a match, a main event match at a pay-per-view TLC with Randy Orton to determine the undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Championship. it was amazing how John Cena just didn't sell the match at all. And I really shouldn't be amazed by it because it's to be expected. And that's the reason why I put John Cena number 4 on this list. Coming in at number 3, Alberto. Yeah, I can't really even roll the R. Del Rio. The reason why I put Alberto Del Rio at number 3 higher than John Cena is because at least John Cena can talk and has some personality. With Alberto Del Rio, he's just very one-dimensional. He's not a good promo cutter. Remember when he was talking about my destiny is to become the World Heavyweight Champion? That's all he kept talking about, and that's the reason why he's very one-dimensional. He keeps saying the same thing over and over, kind of like John Cena. But the only difference is that he just has no personality at all. He just sucks the life right out of me. Yes, he is a good technical wrestler, but even I heard this in an interview from Bully Ray. Technical wrestling is boring. You need a personality. You need to be good on the microphone. You need every element to be a good WWE superstar. You need to know how to act. You need to know how to sell it. And the only thing Alberto Del Rio has got going for him is that cross-arm breaker, a couple of okay moves, a good technical wrestler, but just a boring guy. I mean, the worst thing the WWE has done with Alberto Del Rio was dropping him. Is dropping Ricardo Rodriguez as his manager. That was the stupidest, dumbest thing WWE has ever done, and ever since then, Alberto Del Rio just goes nowhere. Yes, he was the World Heavyweight Champion, but even when Alberto Del Rio was the World Heavyweight Championship, was the champion, the WWE just did not seem to care, because at the time, John Cena was returning, only to have him go over Del Rio. Why? Why couldn't Alberto Del Rio go over John Cena then? I mean, there's so many things that WWE does with their superstars, including Alberto Del Rio, that they just fail to deliver, and it shows that the WWE has incapabilities of creating new stars. Now, I will give WWE a little bit of credit with Del Rio when he did debut. He had a match with Rey Mysterio, and at the end of the match, he started beating him up, even more. He was actually getting a response from the crowd then. But over time, and when you look back at it now, has he really gotten that reaction, that big heel heat reaction at all? No, not really. And that's the reason why Alberto Del Rio has made the top 3. Coming in at number 2 on this list, the All-American American, We the People, Jack Swagger. Yes, that's right. Jack Swagger made the list, and he's number 2 on the countdown. And the reason why I put Jack Swagger on this list is the fact that he has no personality at all. None whatsoever. Do I even have to go any further other than the fact that Jack Swagger, every time he comes out, I just know we're not going to get much at all. I mean, here's the thing. At least he has a manager. At least Zeb Coulter is a manager that can come out and talk and have these funny signs. But just when it comes to Jack Swagger, I mean, it's one thing to have a good manager for a superstar. Like Paul Heyman with Cesaro or Paul Heyman with CM Punk. But with Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger, there's a difference. Jack Swagger is a guy that, even though, kind of like Alberto Del Rio, he is a good technical wrestler, but has zero personality. He's just a guy that continuously, week after week, month after month, year after year, just goes nowhere. He wins the World Heavyweight Championship, they drop it. no, everyone forgot that he won the World Championship. That is how boring Jack Swagger is. He wins Money in the Bank before he won the championship, and nothing, no reaction at all, and I'm just going to move on from there. And we've seen a lot of superstars on this list already, from 10 to number 2. But there is only one WWE superstar that comes to mind as the most boring wrestler on the roster. And I don't know if I even consider him a wrestler no longer. And that is Randall Keith Orton. And before I'd done this video, I was watching a video from OTRS Central talking about how Randy Orton is the most boring WWE World Heavyweight Champion of all time. And I absolutely agree. Randy Orton, he comes in, debuts against Hardcore Holly. He has a stint of trying to find himself. At least Randy Orton was cool in some ways from 2003, 2004, and again when he was the Viper, doing the weird old crazy Viper-like mannerisms, looking scary and all that crap. But at the end of the day, Randy Orton just does not cut it. The only thing he has going for him are his poses, the baby oil. He walks out with a blank face. I'm going to win. And the only time I even wake up in his matches and when he nails the RKO. Probably when he comes out, I hear voices in my head. There's a little bit of a pop there. When he hits the RKO, there's a bit of a pop there. But when he's wrestling in the match, he just loves the headlocks. He loves the chin locks. He loves all the holds. That just makes you want to go to sleep. A lot of superstars do that, but Randy Orton is that guy that's on top of the list as the most boring WWE superstar of all time. And I hope you really enjoyed this list. And I want to question, what are your top 10 most boring superstars in the WWE on the active roster today? Or even of all time. Whatever they are, comment below, let me know. While you're at it, you can hit that subscribe button down below this video. You can also follow MRB Wrestling on Twitter, and you can like us on Facebook at the Make Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. And on a final note, to all you viewers watching, get plenty of rest